Run.
At the very end of summer 2015, I watched Baka and Test for the first time, and it immediately became one of my favorite anime. It was hilarious, had some catchy opening tracks, an amazing cast, as well as a fantastic English dub. Now over the years, I've discovered some anime that I've enjoyed more than Baka and Test, however it's still in my top 20 anime of all time. This has been my fourth time watching the series, and surprisingly, my opinion on it hasn't changed in the slightest. It's just as great as I remember it being, which is why it bothers me that no one seems to talk about it. That's actually why I'm making this video in the first place, so all of you Gen Zers will know how great the show is, watch it, and then end up loving it. But yeah, spoilers for the anime. If you haven't seen it yet, then I strongly recommend watching it. Baka and Test is a school rom-com that follows Aki, Himeji, Minami, and a handful of other characters. What sets this apart from other rom-coms is that the school they attend is much different from your average one. Students there are placed in classes A through F, with A having the smartest students and F having the dumbest. These classes are then able to battle each other using small avatars of themselves. Their avatars are as strong as their most recent test scores, however they change depending on the subject. So normally someone from a higher class like Class C will almost always win against someone from Class F since their scores are overall lower. However, just because someone is from a higher class doesn't mean they'll always win. For example, there's Minami who's in Class F since a lot of her grades suck. However, she's really good at math and is about just as good as others who are in Class B. This means that if she's fighting while the subject for the battle is math, then she'll most likely win. There's a decent amount to take in for the battle system, but it's not too complicated. On its own, it's somewhat engaging and interesting, but I really don't care for it all that much. It's a cool idea, but it feels more like a gimmick to help make this stand out from other rom-coms. Thankfully, the series doesn't focus that much on its characters battling each other with their avatars. The first two episodes strongly center around this, which is why they, especially episode 1, end up being some of the anime's weakest episodes. Episode 1 has Class F, which is where all its main characters are, fight against Class E, and win. This is mainly because they have Himeji in their class, who's one of the smartest students in the school. The reason she's in Class F is because while taking her entrance exam, she wasn't able to finish her test and was automatically put in Class F. Anyway, Class F then fights A, but loses because their class rep Yuji is stupid.
What are you, fucking retarded?
Because Class F lost, the rules say that they aren't able to fight again for another 3 months. So now everyone has nothing better to do, so they just stick around and do whatever the hell they want. And thank God for this, because now the series turns into a mostly regular slice of life comedy for the next 8 episodes. This is where the series is at its best, or at least in season 1 anyway. We get a bunch of super simple episodes that are hard carried by its comedy and most importantly its characters, which I'll get into later. For example, there's episode 4, which like many others is incredibly simple in terms of its plot. Aki only has 1/64th of a cup of noodles for lunch, so he's pretty hungry. Minami wants to give him her extra lunch that she made, but is struggling to give it to him. And that's pretty much the plot. It's so basic, but that isn't a bad thing, especially since this episode has a bunch of great jokes in it. There's also episode 7, which is easily my favorite episode of the season. Yuji and Shoko go on a date at an amusement park, and Aki and everyone else try to make sure it all goes well for them. It's insanely fun from start to finish, and we even get a genuine great moment between the two of them at the end too. So yeah, there's a good amount of great episodes in season 1. The first couple episodes might not be anything too special, and the same goes for the last few too. It's now been 3 months since Class F's defeat, so now they're finally able to battle other classes again. They win against Class D and then beat Class B too. They then fight Class A, lose, but then have another rematch with them and win. The battles against Class D and B are good, mainly because it's been so long since the last battle, plus they both only take up about 11 minutes each. However, the fight with Class A is a bit weaker, mainly because it takes up an entire episode, plus it comes right after 2 battles as well. The rematch with them in the last episode is pretty good, and certainly not a bad way to end the season. There's some interesting ideas that are in these battles, but again, they're just not nearly as strong as the slice of life episodes, which is my problem with them. Before we get to season 2, there's 2 OVA episodes which are pretty good. During the school festival, Aki and Ryuji have to deal with 2 seniors called Flim and Flam who are giant. There's some fun moments, especially in the second one, but it's clear that these episodes aren't as strong as the rest of the series. The main reason for this are Flim and Flam, who kinda suck. They're very one-note and generic, and besides a few lines, they aren't that funny. They're very forgettable and are easily the worst characters in the show. They thankfully don't ruin the OVAs or anything, since everyone else is still great and fun.
Come back to me, little brother. These ladies are ready to throw down.
Connection terminated.
This then brings us to season 2, and oh boy, it sure is something alright. Season 2 is mostly better than season 1, having stronger and more highs, but also much lower lows too. The pacing and plot is sort of all over the place, so I guess we'll start with the first few episodes. Episodes 1 through 4 are pretty much filler that don't amount to anything. The first 2 episodes are the typical beach episodes, and 3 and 4 are both divided into 2 11-minute segments. Now I have no problem with this, mainly because they're all great and hilarious. For example, there's the first segment in episode 3, which has Hideyoshi switch places with his sister Yuko. This is the only Hideyoshi-centered episode, or segment I guess, as well as one of the few times we see Yuko too. I know I'm repeating myself when I say this, but this, as well as many other episodes, are carried because of its comedy.
I guess, in terms of attraction, I'm fond of very young boys. Oh my god! I don't like other girls! I wear panties every day and I'm definitely not a pedophile!
Episodes 5 through 7 have the school go to a training camp. During it, Aki, Yuji, Kota, and Hideyoshi try to catch someone who's blackmailing Aki. It's a great arc that not only has a bunch of great jokes and moments, but also has some pretty good battles too. So shortly after the arc starts, everyone realizes that the one who's blackmailing Aki is a girl who has a burn mark on her butt. They decide that the best way to find out who it is by breaking into the girl's bath and checking everyone's butt. Obviously, there's teachers guarding the girl's bath, so now everyone has to make it past them and even other students too. They end up doing this multiple times since they failed twice, and it's a ton of fun to watch. They take this battle so seriously, but it ends up working so well because the goal is for them to make it to the girl's bath, which is so stupid. Like I said before, I don't dislike the battles, but I also don't love them either. However, the ones in these episodes are great and are easily the best in the whole series. If they did more battles that revolved around something extremely dumb like this, then I wouldn't mind getting a lot more of them.
I'm Kota Tsuchiya, and I take picnic lunches. I'm very good at stalking. I'm not good at anything.
Anyway, this brings us to episode 8, which is the best episode in the series. It's a flashback episode where we see MyAnimeList struggling to fit in with everyone at school after moving from Germany. There's really not too much to say about it that isn't obvious. It's interesting to see all these characters before they were friends. It's a MyAnimeList episode, so it's automatically great. It's funny and also well directed too. There's a lot of unique and cool shots in this, as well as the other flashback episode, which centers around Ryuji and Shoko. That episode is also fantastic, and I'd say it's the second best episode in the series, right behind this one. But before we get to that, there's 2 other episodes that come before it. They're both great episodes that have juicy drama in them, because MyAnimeList goes up to Aki and kisses him, so that's spicy goodness like a boss. There's some of the series' stronger episodes, and I wish we got more romance and drama centered ones like this. Even though Baka and Test is a rom-com, there's barely any romantic developments in it. The most we get are these episodes, as well as some other very minor things before this too. But anyway, after this we get to episode 11, which, like I said, is my second favorite episode. After being hinted at and teased for almost 2 seasons, we finally get to see what happened between Ryuji and Shoko in the past. Apparently, when Ryuji was in 5th grade, he beat the shit out of some 6th graders since they were being mean to Shoko. If he didn't do anything or got a teacher instead, then Shoko would move to another school and her life would suck since she wouldn't be with Ryuji. Obviously, Ryuji cares for Shoko, which is why he did this, ruined his reputation, and became known as a delinquent. I loved Ryuji before this episode, but this just makes me appreciate him even more. But yeah, its plot is great, its characters are great, visually it's great, it's a fucking amazing episode, and I love it.
Yuji. In our entire class, I've got the biggest of the boobies.
Unfortunately, this is where the hype train ends, because after this we get to episodes 12 and 13, which are by far the worst episodes in the show.
Hit or miss.
The school is having a haunted house festival or some shit, and all the sophomores go up against all the seniors. On their own, these are fine episodes, but they're made so much worse since they're the final 2 episodes of the season, and hopefully just for now, the series. These don't feel like season finale episodes at all, especially after all the amazing episodes we've gotten up to this point. Literally every episode before these, I gave either a 9 or 10 out of 10. So to go from those 11 to these just sucks so much. Every time I watch the series, I never look forward to seeing these 2. Again, they aren't awful or even that bad, they're just misplaced and feel like bonus OVA episodes. In fact, during my rewatch this time around, I actually did something different which I've never done before. Once I finished episode 10, I skipped episode 11, watched these 2 episodes, and then finished off on episode 11. And you know what? It made finishing the anime 5 times better. The series still ends unresolved, but at least I ended it off with one of the best episodes and on an extremely high note too. It's sort of bizarre doing this, and it is weird ending the series without seeing some of the main characters like Aki, Himeji, and Minami too. But still, this was a much better way to end the anime than with the last 2 episodes. When I eventually rewatch the series for a 5th time in a few years, I'm going to end it like this too, and I recommend that you guys do the same. The last 2 episodes are such a shit way to end the series. There's some fun moments, but even then, they're still sorta weak when it comes to comedy. The whole haunted house thing isn't anything special, and we also see Flim and Flam again, both of which I don't give a single shit for. They aren't awful, but I did not need to see them return, especially in the last 2 episodes. Anyway, after the haunted house is over, Aki and Himeji go on the roof and she kisses him on the cheek. Then Nick Cruz enters the school and... Yep, that's how the anime ends. Everyone just fucking runs. It's such a bad way to end the season, and it's one of the most disappointing finales to any anime. Again, I'm so pissed at this because everything before episode 12 was amazing. It was hilarious, there were great arcs, drama, romantic developments, and even important flashbacks too. If episodes 12 and 13 didn't exist, then I'd say season 2 would be a strong 9 out of 10, but unfortunately that's not the case. I might even recommend just skipping these episodes entirely, especially if you're rewatching the series. Literally anything else would have been better than this. We could have had another flashback episode, most likely one on Himeji and Aki. We don't know much about Himeji, and since we just got one on Ryuji and Shoko, as well as Minami, it's only fair that we get one for her too. As much as I hate to say it, I wouldn't mind if the season ended on another regular slice of life episode. Now I hate it when seasons end like this, but in Baka and Test case, I don't think it'd be that bad, especially since the slice of life episodes are all great. But unfortunately, the reality is we got 2 extremely disappointing final episodes that are annoying and make me so depressed. Now I could grab a bottle of alcohol, drink 15 shots, and be here all day long bitching about this goddamn ending. It pisses me off so much. Holy shit, why did they end it like this? I want season 3, goddammit. But obviously, I'm not going to do that now. Maybe for a subscriber special or something, but definitely not now. Anyway, might as well move on to the most important part of the series, its characters. Baka and Test has one of my favorite cast of characters in any anime. Nearly every single character, whether it be a main, side, male, female, or even Hideyoshi, are all great. Aki is a great main character. He's a big, lovable idiot pervert. His stupidity can be a bit annoying, mainly when it comes to Minami trying to get in his pants, but besides that, he's awesome sauce. Ryuji is his best friend, and he's just as great, or actually even better than Aki. He's sort of an asshole, but he's still a good and also somewhat smart person too. Koda is the biggest pervert in the show, who goes around taking pictures of all the hot mamas. There's also Hideyoshi, who's the best trans character of all time. There's also some great side characters like Iron Man, as well as Kubo, who's gay for Aki. Gay! What makes the cast so great is the chemistry between them all. Aki and Yuji are best friends, Yuji and Shoko have an abusive relationship, and Himeji and Minami are friends even though they're also rivals. The series is at its best whenever there's a good handful of characters interacting with each other. The way each of them play off each other is amazing and is why the comedy is so goddamn strong.
So the target is in the sky.
You can go get it.
This is weird. I think they must have screwed up the question.
It's not the question that's screwed.
Anyway, now it's time for the moment you've all been waiting for. It's time for the Waifu Wars, where I officially rank each girl from worst to best. It's Morbin time. Yuko is Hideyoshi's older sister by 3 minutes, and she's worst girl because she likes yaoi, which is disgusting! Unfortunately, she doesn't get much screen time, but when she is on screen, she's pretty fun. She'd be higher up, but like I said, she's into yaoi, and that's disgusting! Miharu is a minor side character, and all she really does is simp for Minami, so at least she has good taste. Miharu can be a bit annoying at times, mainly when she's interrupting Minami's time with Aki, but 8 out of 10 times, she's usually funny. Nearly every main character in the series is great, however, there's one that's an exception, and that of course is its main heroine, Himeji. She's not bad, in fact, she's a good character, however, in comparison to everyone else in the series, she's pretty weak. No pun intended. Himeji has big bobas, which is a plus, and she also loves cooking too. But besides those things, she's just your average hot mama main girl with the big bobas that's super nice and kinda shy. She's good, but everyone else is just leagues better, more fun, and more interesting than her. Aiko is a girl that loves teasing some of the dudes in Class F, although she mainly wants to diddle Kota's pickle. I hardship her and Kota, and I hope they both get married and have many babies together. Akira is Aki's older sister, and she's super duper smoking fucking hot. She's got the big old titties, and she also wants to fuck Aki, so that's funny because incest is morally unacceptable. After episode 2 of season 2, she stopped showing up in the show, which is weird, but it sorta makes sense since more important things were happening, I guess. Shoko is a big scary simp for Yuji and will do anything to get in his pantalones. She attacks him all the time, but that's only because she loves him, so it's all okay because
rape is good.
Yuji should grow a pair, ask her out, and then the two of them should get married. But yeah, Shoko is great, but there's just one girl who's 6 million times better.
One!
It is scientifically proven that Minami is indeed best girl in Baka and Test. She may be flat and she may be stupid, but still, that doesn't matter because she's funny and cute. She's super strong, she's good at math, and she's also German, and who doesn't want German? Pussy! Minami is best girl, and if you disagree, then you can bitch about it in the comment section. The anime was animated by Silverlink, and overall it looks good. It might not be impressively animated or anything, but there's definitely stuff to appreciate in it. Character designs are solid, color design can be great at times, and sometimes it can include some visually interesting shots, most notably in the flashback episodes. It's a distinct, colorful, and an appealing looking show. The soundtrack is overall good, nothing too memorable besides a few tracks, but still good. However, all 3 openings and the second ending theme are great. I've been listening to them all the time for nearly a decade now. They're all very catchy, and yeah. Its English dub, on the other hand, is genuinely fantastic. I'm not exaggerating when I say this is one of the absolute greatest English dubs of all time. Literally everyone fits their character perfectly, and everyone does an amazing performance. It's insane how well and perfect this dub is. The actors and their deliveries are one of the main things that make the show what it is. If the dub was just average, I really don't think this would be one of my all-time favorite anime. The characters wouldn't be as likable, and a lot of jokes wouldn't be as funny either, which is basically a huge reason why I love the show so much. I might believe in a dub supremacy and all, but even so, this dub is incredible. 10 out of 10. Actually, never mind, I just looked something up and I now have an even bigger appreciation for the dub. This is a Funimation dub with top tier performances, and most importantly, it's a dub that doesn't include Satan herself, Monica Rial. Hell yeah, baby. Fuck it. We're giving the dub an 11 out of 10. Well, that was Baka and Test, and thankfully it's just as entertaining as the last 3 times I watched it. It's one of the funniest anime out there, its cast is amazing, its English dub is fantastic, it has some banger openings, it's genuinely something special. Even though it has a super shitty and underwhelming final 2 episodes, the rest of the series is mostly a blast. If you can get past its last 2 episodes and lack of ending, you'll be in for an amazing ride. But once it's over, you'll end up like me and be depressed as fuck for a week straight. Baka and Test might have some, or mainly one big flaw, but its strengths more than make up for it, which is why I'm giving it a 9.19 out of 10. Anyway, that was the anime, and unfortunately, that's where this video ends. There is a manga, which I've read some of, but the story never ended, and more importantly, translations aren't fully available online. There's like 2 or 3 volumes that are just missing and not translated on sites, so you can't read what's on there in its entirety, which is really stupid. Also, the source material is a light novel, and for those who don't know, I refuse to read light novels since there's barely any pictures in them. I don't have the attention span to read a bunch of words on pages without any pictures, so I guess I'll never know how the series ends. Hopefully one day we'll get a 3rd season, and if or when we do, I'll be back to review it. But for now, my headcanon ending is that Aki chooses Minami, he fucks her brains out, they have 10 kids, and they live happily ever after. Ryuji and Shoko also get married and have 10 kids, and the same goes for Aiko and Kota, except they only have 5. I guess that also means Himeji and Hideyoshi got together too, so yeah. Well, that's going to do it for this video. If you liked it, you can leave a like, comment, share, subscribe, or even support me on Patreon. Link down below. Also, be sure to subscribe for my 7-hour review of the greatest anime and manga of all time, Heaven's Lost Property, because that'll be out eventually.